Hi, word nerds. So this book is called Great Migrations, Elephants, and let's go ahead and read it. So it says, elephant tusks are made of ivory, which has been used to make things like jewelry and piano keys. And there is a period at the end, so that means it's either a regular statement, which is declarative, or it's commanding somebody to do something, which would be imperative. But if we look at this again, it's not, so we're going to call it once again, like 1,000 times this year. It's going to be a declarative sentence. All right, so let's dig into it. Now, this particular sentence has some interesting things going on in it because, well, okay, let's just go ahead and get started. So, like, for instance, if I'm reading this sentence, elephant, I know elephant is a thing. But then tusks is next to it. So technically, it makes me stop and think, okay, well, tusks, that's definitely a plural noun, no way about it. But elephant in front of it, is elephant describing the type of tusks? Or should we consider the whole thing as like a two-word phrase that belongs together? I'll be honest, I haven't really decided, because if tusks is the plural noun and we're supposed to use elephant as the describing word, which type of tusks? Elephant tusks. Because it could be walrus tusks, it could be, well, right now that's the limit of my brain thinking of animals with tusks. Mammoth tusks. So I haven't decided. There's another one down here too when it comes to piano keys. Okay, keys. What kind of keys? Not house keys, piano keys. So is piano a describing word in this situation? So what I decided that I want to do is I'm going to underline these for this sentence and just count them as a plural noun with two words. But I did want you guys to think about that, how the word in front of it, if it wasn't there, you could be asking yourself a million different things, like what kind of keys, what kind of tusks. So we have two of those in this sentence, actually. All right, are made of ivory. Ivory is an object, so that's going to be a noun, which has been used to make things. Things are things, right? But things is actually replacing whatever the other things are, like jewelry and piano keys. So the word things is replacing jewelry and piano keys and other objects. So this is actually a pronoun, like jewelry and piano keys. So jewelry is a thing, so it is a noun. All right, so let's look for action words, okay? Elephant tusks are made, okay? Not just are, not just made, are and made, they work together. So one of those is either helping or linking verb, and the other one's kind of the traditional verb. So let's say verb and verb of ivory, which has been used. Okay, that's another situation where we've got helping and linking verbs instead of a traditional verb right here. So we have verb, verb, verb. These three together work together to show the action has been used. So kind of the tense almost. To make is an action too, so verb, make things like jewelry and piano keys. All right, let's look at what's left. At this point, there's not many words left. We have of, which, to, like, and. Well, I know and is combining these two words in a list. So it's joining them. It's a conjunction. All right, I can identify at least two of those as prepositions just from experience and using it over and over and over again. Of and to are prepositions. So it positions the making things with used and the making with ivory. It's a weird way to think of it, making with the ivory, but to me it kind of helps understand why of and to are prepositions. All right, so the remaining words we have are which and like. Which and like. So which is actually one of the words that we have on our ELA stations this week for an activity. You're supposed to click through the practice slides and kind of get some practice with it. And then when you're done, you're supposed to take the actual quiz with it. And that quiz is pretty easy once you've practiced it for a little bit. But this is called a relative pronoun. A relative pronoun. So showing a relationship, but it's also replacing the name of something. So relative pronoun, which. All right, and that leaves us with the word like. It was interesting because I was sitting there thinking, okay, I know the word like can have a lot of different meanings and a lot of different parts of speech. So I looked it up, and like can actually be 7 different parts of speech in different scenarios. So I had to think really deeply about what this like is doing in the sentence. What's its job? Really, anytime we're coming up with a part of speech for a word, we're trying to decide what the job of that word is in the sentence. That's why some of us have gotten really good at it, because if you know the definitions of the parts of speech and you are willing to think about the job of each of the words, then it can be a little easier. But as I've told you guys for 2 years now, some of you, it's hard even for me sometimes, and I'm a super word nerd. So let's think about this. Okay, make things like jewelry. The way that it's used, I was positioning it in my mind to the making things, to the jewelry is being positioned with the making of things. So to me, this is a preposition. Because if it was a verb, it would be more like, oh, I really like to go swimming. Okay, that's an action of liking. And there are other ways to use it, but to me, a preposition makes the most sense this time. And I'm not asking you guys to do my dirty work of figuring it out because I'm doubting myself. This time I'm feeling pretty solid about this one. All right, let's look at the sentence structure. So I know there's a part up here, elephant tusks are made of ivory. That could definitely be by itself. And then there's punctuation in the middle. Take out that part and it says, which has been used to make things like jewelry and piano keys. Even if I take out the word which, has been used to, that can't stand alone. This depends on the other clause in the sentence to make sense together. So it's not simple because there's a part that makes sense by itself and a part that doesn't make sense by itself. And usually if that's the combination, one makes sense by itself and the other one doesn't make sense by itself, that is going to be a complex sentence. All right. And subject and predicate. So we're going to find out. There's lots of verbs in here, honestly, but we're going to focus on the one in the independent clause, the one that makes sense by itself up here. So the action, that's going to be the predicate. I'm going to say are made. Okay, and what is made? Elephant tusks. They are made of ivory. And so when I think of it that way, I kind of like how we put them together as a plural noun, because if I just left tusks by itself, I mean, I guess it could still make sense. Well, that's the end of our sentence surgeon today, and it's Friday afternoon. I hear the rain pouring down really hard now, so I think I'm going to get out of here because I'm tired of being at school today. Bye, guys.